people who live in a world of risk and failure. That's just the reality. Everywhere they look, they see risk and failure. And in their minds, which they project onto the world, there is a lot of risk and failure talk going on. It's a big factor in a lot of their decisions. And they go through life fearing failure, fearing rejection. And then there are those who actually don't really have risk and failure as a factor in their life. Whether it's they trained it out of themselves or it just wasn't something that was baked into their consciousness. And they go through life making decisions as though risk and failure wasn't a factor. And funnily enough, when they do fail, when they do take a risk and something goes up, it doesn't really look like anything to them. Their minds aren't perturbed. It's just chill every day. Let's go on to the next thing. And for so long, I lived in the world of risk and failure. And then I awoke into my mind and the fact that we're all making it up within. And I realized that it was possible to live in a world outside of risk, in a world outside of failure. One where the factor didn't weigh heavily on my life and on my decisions. And what I want to share with you is that life can become really beautiful when we decrease the risk and the failure factor within your mind. There's that variable, the psychological variable of failure. Now, what happens when you decrease it? Does it mean that you're just going to get everything perfectly? No. But what happens is that you move and shift from the failure mindset into the playing mindset, where all of a sudden life becomes a great big game. Your activities, the things that you do just become this fun thing that you get to do. You don't take yourself too seriously. You're just loving and enjoying life. And, things seem to just be immune. Like, if you're playing like a kid, you are immune to the serious kind of grumpy nature of life. You can kind of shield yourself from whatever's going on in the outside world. I was talking with a friend today and I realized that they were stuck in a game of failure in their mind. And this is specifically around social media. And I realized that I had made a lot of progress in my own mind just by awakening to the fact that everything, all our fears, all our insecurities, all our fears of failure, our fears of mucking up, looking like a crazy man, whatever, these were made up within our mind. And in fact, like being affected by what people say, that is made up within your mind as well. You got to realize that you have complete control inside of your mind over your experience, because your experience is to do everything with your thoughts. It's nothing to do with the person outside you, what they're saying, what they're doing, because subjectively, everyone will have a different experience of the same thing. So for someone, a hate comment or like a mean comment on a video or something might be debilitating. But for another person, it might seem like nothing at all. It doesn't touch them. It doesn't register in their mind. Their confidence factor is so high that they're just immune to it and it just looks like nothing. And I would propose that the more that you go into your mental health, the deeper that you go into it, the more confident you become, the lower your risk and failure factor, and the more increased play and fun factor comes into what I like to think about the mind occasionally in the metaphor of like an equation, right? So it's a really exciting thing. Now, you might be asking, how do you do this? How do you increase that play factor or decrease the risk and failure? It's very simple. You just look within your feelings and look within yourself. And the reason why I say you look within yourself, because it quiets your mind and you start to become aware and conscious of what is running you. And when you become aware and conscious of how this fear of failure, it's just this silly little voice in your head, it actually slowly loses power over you. It slowly loses dominion. And once you've seen through it fully and you've seen through your fears, you become fearless in this world and life becomes a lot more joyous and you can bring a lot more love to the table. And this is a journey that I've been on and I'm excited to see more, because you got to realize as well, the seeing never ends. The growing and expansion of your consciousness and your understanding of life, that will never end. And you'll always have dips, you'll always have lows, and you'll just expand like every single time. And just the more, like, this is the factor, this is the main factor. The more that you see, you're making up your own reality within your mind, and you're feeling the thinking. You're thinking, okay, hold on. You're feeling the feeling of your thinking, not of the world. Then you realize it's a safe system. Like, life is safe. It is a beautiful place we live in, and you can be free of the fears that once held you back. Why make up these fears and failure variables in your mind and then go live life? Like, you don't need to accept that as your reality. You can see through the fear and then live life from joy. There's a lot more to be said. I will make another point, because this is kind of like my video vlog. This is like my diary of my insights, which I love to share. So I'm pivoting less away from perfection and more towards just sharing what is on my mind and what I've been learning. I realized that significance and needing success and needing things, this is what takes us out of the joy of life and the flow of life. And this is what increases our risk factor and our failure factor. And in a lot of ways, that's a beautiful thing, because it wakes us up to our faulty ways of thinking. And if you can let go of the need for significance and let go of the need for success and having to have everything perfect and be somewhere and be there, and all these futuristic patterns and your patterns of thinking about and regretting your past, if you can let go of that and be present with full love, then you can live a beautiful life here and now. And that's the ultimate goal. Being present, being someone who lives in the present moment, who listens to God, who is deeply, deeply loving and free of your kind of egoistic fears and the things that hold us back and those weird little psychological entities. So, I don't know, man. It's pretty exciting. I'm going to keep doing these videos. Might even do some some funny content on Instagram or something. I like acting. It's pretty fun, so I guess we'll keep going from here. Peace.